I met Dr. Catherine Whitmore at the 2019 Neural Information Processing Systems Conference in Vancouver. I was presenting a poster on novel approaches to reinforcement learning in multi-agent systems. She stopped at my poster, studied it for 15 minutes, and asked 3 devastatingly good questions that revealed she actually understood the mathematics behind my work. "This is elegant," she said, tapping the section on my reward function optimization. "Most people are still brute forcing these problems. Your approach to dynamic reward shaping is genuinely novel." I was a postdoc at MIT, 2 years out from my PhD, with strong technical skills but zero industry connections. Catherine was a research scientist at a mid-tier AI lab, with an impressive network but, as I'd later learn, limited technical depth beyond surface-level understanding. "I'm working on something that could use this approach," she said. "Predictive modeling for pharmaceutical research. Drug interaction prediction specifically. It's a $50 billion problem, and current AI solutions are garbage." She was right. Drug interaction prediction was notoriously difficult to many variables. Too little quality training data, too many false positives that killed promising research. If someone could build an AI system that accurately predicted drug interactions early in development, pharmaceutical companies would pay fortunes for it. "I have the domain expertise and industry connections," Catherine continued. "You have the technical brilliance. We should collaborate." We met for coffee the next morning. She painted a compelling picture. A joint research project, equal partnership, potential patent and licensing deals worth millions. She had contacts at 3 major pharmaceutical companies, already interested in better predictive AI. "I can open doors," she said, "but I need someone who can actually build what I'm envisioning. The math is beyond me, honestly." That's where you come in. I should have paid more attention to that admission. The math is beyond me should have been a warning sign. But I was excited, a real-world application for my research, potential commercial success, a partner with industry connections I'd never have on my own. We signed a collaboration agreement in January 2020, equal partners, joint ownership of any intellectual property developed, revenue splits and patent rights explicitly 50-50, or so I thought. I started development in February 2020, working from my apartment in Cambridge. Catherine was based in San Francisco, which meant our collaboration was entirely remote, a detail that would later prove crucial. The problem was genuinely difficult. Drug interactions occur through complex molecular mechanisms. You couldn't just throw a standard neural network at the problem. I needed to develop a completely new architecture that could, 1. Handle molecular structure, data efficiently, 2. Account for pharmacokinetic variables, 3. Predict interaction probabilities across thousands of drug combinations, 4. Provide interpretable results. Pharmaceutical researchers wouldn't trust a black box. 5. Learn from limited, noisy data. I created a private GitHub repository, Drug Interaction Land, invited Catherine as a collaborator. I started with the foundational architecture, a graph neural network that could represent molecular structures, combined with a novel attention mechanism I designed specifically for pharmacological properties. My first commit, February 3, 2020, 11:47 p.m. Initial architecture framework, molecular graph representation. I worked obsessively, 12-hour days, often stretching to 16 hours. The problem consumed me in the way only genuinely interesting technical challenges can. I filled Jupyter notebooks with experiments, mathematical derivations, and architectural iterations. Catherine's role, as defined, was providing domain expertise and industry guidance. She'd review my progress weekly via Zoom, ask about potential pharmaceutical applications, and offer suggestions about what drug companies would want to see. Her technical contributions: 0 commits to the repository, 0 code written, 0 mathematical derivations, but I didn't mind, initially. She was handling the business side, she said, talking to pharmaceutical companies, building interest, setting up potential licensing deals. "How's the architecture coming?" she'd ask in our weekly video calls. "I've solved the molecular representation problem," I'd explain, sharing my screen to show the graph neural network structure. "The attention mechanism is working better than expected. I'm getting 87% accuracy on the training set, which is 15 points better than any published approach." "That's incredible," she'd say. "The companies I'm talking to will love this. Keep pushing." I documented everything meticulously. Not because I was paranoid, but because that's how research works. Every decision, every architectural choice, Every experimental result went into Jupyter notebooks with timestamps and detailed comments. By May 2020, I had a working prototype. The algorithm could predict drug interactions with 91% accuracy, revolutionary performance for this problem. I'd written 4,200 lines of carefully commented Python code. The comments weren't just explanatory, they were pedagogical, explaining the mathematical reasoning behind each component. "This is your brilliant work," Catherine wrote in an email, dated May 17, 2020. "I showed some preliminary results to contacts at Merck. They're very interested. Can you prepare a technical white paper?" I wrote the white paper. 27 pages of technical details, mathematical proofs, and experimental results. Catherine reviewed it and suggested changes to make it more accessible to non-technical readers, which I incorporated. We submitted the paper to a major machine learning conference. It was accepted in July with enthusiastic reviews. "Novel architecture," one reviewer wrote, "significant advance in pharmaceutical AI applications." The paper listed both of us as authors, Catherine Whitmore and David Park, in that order, alphabetical. We'd agreed, standard practice. What I didn't know was that Catherine was already planning to cut me out. Looking back, the signs were obvious. But when you're deep in technical work, trusting your partner, you don't see the betrayal coming. In August 2020, Catherine suggested we needed to formalize our IP arrangements. "We should think about patent applications," she said. "The algorithm is valuable. We need legal protection." "Agreed," I said. "Should we hire a patent attorney together?" "I actually know a good patent attorney through my network," Catherine said. "Let me handle the preliminary discussions. I'll keep you updated." She did not keep me updated. In September, she started asking unusual questions during our calls. "Can you walk me through the core algorithm again?" she'd ask. "I need to be able to explain it to potential investors." I'd spend an hour explaining the graph neural network architecture, the attention mechanism, the training procedure. She'd take notes, ask follow-up questions, request that I send her my Jupyter notebooks for reference. I sent them, all of them, every notebook, every experiment, every mathematical derivation, because she was my partner, and partners share everything. "This is so complex," she said after one particularly detailed explanation. "You're brilliant at this math. I could never have designed this myself." Again, I should have paid attention. I could never have designed this myself. An admission of non-contribution that I was too naive to recognize as significant. In October, Catherine told me she was exploring licensing opportunities more seriously. "I'm talking to patent attorneys about the best strategy," she said. "The algorithm could be worth millions in licensing deals. Pharmaceutical companies are desperate for better predictive tools. Should I be involved in these discussions?" I asked. "Not yet," she said. "Let me handle the preliminary business development. You focus on refining the algorithm. I need you to get the accuracy up to 94% if possible. That'll be the killer feature." I got it to 93.7%. Another 3 months of work. Hundreds more commits. Dozens more Jupyter notebooks filled with experiments and optimizations. By January 2021, I'd made 847 commits to the repository. Catherine had made 0. That's when I received the LinkedIn message from a pharmaceutical researcher I'd never met. "Congratulations on the patent filing." The message read, "Dr. Whitmore showed us the preliminary patent application for your drug interaction algorithm. Very impressive. We'd like to discuss licensing." I stared at the message for 5 full minutes. Patent filing. I hadn't filed any patent. We hadn't filed any patent together. I searched the USPTO database. There it was, filed 3 weeks earlier. Applicant, Dr. Catherine Whitmore. Invention, neural network system for predicting pharmaceutical drug interactions. Status, under examination. I wasn't listed anywhere. Not as co-inventor, not as contributor, nothing. The patent application described my algorithm, my graph neural network architecture, my attention mechanism, my training procedure, but it listed Catherine as the sole inventor. My hands were shaking as I opened my email and started composing a message to her. Then I stopped, took a breath, thought like a researcher instead of an angry partner. If she'd filed a fraudulent patent, confronting her directly would just put her on guard. Better to document, gather evidence, and respond strategically. I didn't send the email. Instead, I called a patent attorney. Michael Torres was a patent attorney specializing in AI and machine learning disputes. I met him 2 days after discovering Catherine's patent application. "Tell me everything," he said, opening his laptop. I showed him the USPTO filing. "She filed this without telling me. We had a collaboration agreement, specifying joint ownership of all IP. This is my algorithm. Every line of code. Every mathematical innovation. All my work. Can you prove that?" Michael asked. I opened my laptop. I have 847 GitHub commits over 18 months. Every commit is timestamped and attributed to my account. Catherine has 0 commits. I pulled up the repository statistics. The visualization was damning. A single contributor line showing my username, no other contributors. What else? Michael was typing rapidly. 4,200 lines of commented code. The comments explained the mathematical reasoning, the architectural decisions, the experimental process. They're teaching level detailed because that's how I work. Any expert can read my code and understand not just what it does, but why I designed it that way. I showed him a code snippet, hash, novel attention mechanism for molecular interaction prediction. Hash traditional attention in transformers doesn't account for hash pharmacokinetic properties. This modified attention layer hash weights molecular features based on their interaction potential, hash derived from quantum mechanical properties. Hash C Jupyter Notebook, the 15th of April 2024 mathematical derivation. The patent application describes this exact mechanism, I said. She copied my technical descriptions almost word for word. "Show me your Jupyter notebooks," Michael said. I pulled up my collection, 94 notebooks spanning 18 months of development, each one timestamped, each one documenting experiments, mathematical derivations, failed approaches, and successful breakthroughs. "These are remarkable," Michael said, scrolling through one. "You're essentially providing a complete historical record of the algorithm's development. Every decision point, every innovation, fully documented with timestamps. I also have emails," I said. I opened my email archive. I'd saved every exchange with Catherine about the project. I'd already tagged the most important ones. *email, May 17, 2020. "This is your brilliant work." *email, June 3, 2020. "Your architecture is revolutionary." *email, July 22, 2020. "Can you explain your attention mechanism again? I need to understand your innovation for the pitch." *email, September 8, 2020. "Your mathematical framework is beyond my expertise." *email, October 30, 2020. "I could never have designed this myself." 156 emails total where Catherine explicitly acknowledged my sole authorship of the technical work. She documented her own non-contribution, Michael said, shaking his head. "This is the clearest case of IP theft I've seen in 5 years." "There's more," I said. We had weekly Zoom meetings. I recorded 34 of them with her knowledge. We both knew the meetings were recorded for note-taking purposes. In every single recording, she's asking me to explain the algorithm, requesting clarification on the mathematics, admitting she doesn't understand the technical details. I played a clip from a September meeting. "Catherine, can you walk me through the core neural network again? I need to be able to explain your innovation to potential licensing partners, but the math is beyond me." Sure. The graph neural network represents each drug molecule as a node, and the molecular bonds as edges. The attention mechanism I developed weights each molecular feature based on ... "Catherine, this is so complex, I really couldn't have built this without your expertise." Michael leaned back. "She's admitted on video that she couldn't have built it. That's devastating to her patent claim." "What are my options?" I asked. "We file a challenge to the patent immediately. We also send a cease and desist letter threatening legal action for theft of intellectual property. With this documentation, we'll win. The question is whether we push for damages beyond just invalidating her patent." "What kind of damages?" "She's apparently negotiating licensing deals. If she's representing herself as the algorithm's creator, that's fraud. We can pursue compensation for the value of the work you created, and she is trying to steal." "Do it," I said. "All of it." Michael worked fast. Within 3 days, he'd prepared a comprehensive legal package. 1. Formal challenge to Catherine's patent application with the USPTO. 2. Cease and desist letter demanding she withdraw the patent application. 3. Notice of intent to file civil lawsuit for IP theft and fraud. 4. Evidence package including Asterisk all 847 GitHub commits with times. Asterisk complete repository history, showing sole authorship. Asterisk all 94 Jupyter notebooks with timestamps. Asterisk 156 emails where Catherine acknowledged my authorship. Asterisk 34 Zoom recordings where she admitted technical non-contribution. Asterisk the collaboration agreement specifying joint IP ownership. Asterisk code analysis, showing 4,200 lines of commented code, all attributable to my style and expertise. The package went to Catherine via certified mail and email simultaneously. Michael also sent copies to her patent attorney and the 3 pharmaceutical companies she'd been negotiating with. Catherine called me 6 hours after receiving the package. "What the fuck are you doing?" Her voice was shaking with rage. "You're trying to sabotage." "I'm protecting intellectual property I created," I said calmly. "You filed a patent for an algorithm you didn't build, claiming sole inventorship. That's fraud. We were partners. It was collaborative work. You made 0 commits to the repository, 0 code contributions, 0 mathematical innovations. You have no documentation showing you created anything except business development conversations. I provided the domain expertise, the pharmaceutical knowledge, the industry connections, which would entitle you to compensation for business development, not sole ownership of an algorithm you couldn't build and can't explain. My attorney says your case is weak." "Your attorney is wrong. I have 847 timestamped commits showing sole authorship. I have 156 emails where you explicitly called it my work and my brilliant innovation. I have 34 recorded meetings where you admitted you couldn't have built it yourself. Your patent application copied descriptions directly from my technical documentation." Silence. "Catherine, you filed a patent application describing my graph neural network architecture, my attention mechanism, my training procedure, all innovations I developed and documented over 18 months. You're not claiming joint inventorship. You're claiming you invented it alone. That's not just wrong. It's criminal fraud. You're overreacting. I'm responding proportionally. You tried to steal 18 months of my work and erase me entirely. My attorney has already filed the patent challenge. Your 3 pharmaceutical company contacts received copies of the evidence package this morning. They know you didn't build what you're trying to sell them." Her voice changed from anger to something closer to panic. "Those deals were worth millions based on fraudulent claims of authorship. Those deals are dead. You killed them when you filed that patent application. We can work this out. I'll add you as co-inventor. We'll fix the patent application. Too late. You had 18 months to treat me as an equal partner. Instead, you tried to cut me out completely. I'm done negotiating with someone who tried to steal my life's work." I hung up. The USPTO took patent challenges seriously, especially ones backed by overwhelming evidence. Michael filed our formal challenge 2 weeks after the Sysandicist letter. The challenge document was 87 pages long, meticulously detailing Section 1, complete repository history, every commit from February 2020 to January 2021, showing sole authorship, timestamps, commit messages, code changes, all attributed exclusively to my GitHub account. 0 commits from Catherine's account, which had been granted collaborator access but never used. Section 2, technical code analysis. Michael had hired an expert witness, Dr. Jennifer Liu, a computer science professor at Stanford specializing in AI systems. She'd reviewed my entire code base and provided a detailed analysis. The code demonstrates consistent style, consistent mathematical approach, and progressive complexity, indicating single authorship over time. The 4,200 lines of commented code showed deep understanding of both the mathematical foundations and the practical implementations. The comments are pedagogical in nature, explaining not just what the code does, but the theoretical reasoning behind architectural choices. The patent application filed by Dr. Whitmore describes this exact code architecture, but provides no evidence of her contribution to its development. Her patent descriptions appear to be copied directly from the code comments written by Dr. Pak. In my expert opinion, the algorithm described in the patent application was created solely by Dr. Pak. Section 3, Jupyter Notebook Analysis. All 94 notebooks, exported with timestamps preserved. Each notebook showed my progression, early experimental approaches, mathematical derivations, failed attempts, successful breakthroughs. The notebooks told a story of algorithm development that only the actual creator could have documented. Section 4, Email Evidence. 156 emails systematically showing Catherine's repeated acknowledgement of my sole authorship. Asterisk, your brilliant work, asterisk, your architecture, asterisk, your innovation, asterisk, your mathematical framework, asterisk, I could never have designed this myself. Section 5. Video evidence, transcripts, and video files from 34 Zoom meetings. In every single meeting, Catherine asked me to explain the algorithm, requested clarification on technical details, and explicitly admitted the mathematics was beyond her expertise. Section 6. Collaboration agreement, the signed agreement specifying joint ownership of IP, which Catherine had violated by filing a sole inventor patent. Section 7. Fraud analysis. Michael included a section documenting how Catherine's patent application descriptions were copied nearly word for word from my code comments and technical documentation. Side-by-side comparisons showed identical language, identical mathematical notation, identical architectural descriptions. The USPTO examiner assigned to Catherine's patent received this evidence package and immediately flagged the application for additional scrutiny. The three pharmaceutical companies Catherine had been negotiating with, Merck, Pfizer, and a smaller biotech firm called GenPharm Solutions, all received copies of our evidence package. Their responses were swift and brutal. Merck's legal team sent a letter to Catherine within 48 hours. We are withdrawing from licensing negotiations. Your representations regarding sole inventorship appear to be fraudulent. We are reviewing potential legal action for misrepresentation. Pfizer was more direct. Their VP of Research Development called me directly. Dr. Park, we've reviewed the evidence package your attorney sent. We'd been in advanced negotiations with Dr. Whitmore for licensing rights to the drug interaction algorithm. She represented herself as the sole creator. She wasn't, I said. That's clear from your documentation. Your GitHub history alone proves sole authorship. We're terminating discussions with Dr. Whitmore immediately. We'd like to discuss licensing directly with you, the actual creator. GenPharm Solutions went further. They notified Catherine that they were considering legal action for the time and resources they'd invested in due diligence based on her fraudulent representations. Catherine's $8 million in potential licensing deals evaporated in 72 hours. The USPTO scheduled a hearing for April 2021 to review the patent challenge. These hearings were usually formalities, but given the extensive evidence, the examiner wanted both parties to present their cases in person. Catherine showed up with her patent attorney, Marcus Chen. They both looked grim. I attended with Michael and Dr. Jennifer Liu, our expert witness. The examiner, a veteran USPTO official named Barbara Rodriguez, got straight to business. Dr. Whitmore, I've reviewed the challenge to your patent application. The evidence presented by Dr. Park is substantial. Before we proceed, I want to give you the opportunity to address the core claim that you are not the inventor of the algorithm described in your patent application. Catherine's attorney stood. My client contributed essential domain expertise and strategic direction to the algorithm's development. While Dr. Park handled implementation, the conceptual framework was collaborative. Mr. Chen, Rodriguez interrupted. The patent application claims sole inventorship, not collaborative inventorship, not joint inventorship. Dr. Whitmore listed herself as the only inventor. Is that accurate? A pause. The application could be amended to reflect joint inventorship. That's not what I asked. Is Dr. Whitmore the sole inventor of this algorithm? Marcus glanced at Catherine. The creative process was complex. Mr. Chen, I have 847 GitHub commits, all from Dr. Park. I have video recordings where Dr. Whitmore explicitly states she couldn't have built the algorithm herself. I have emails where she calls it Dr. Park's brilliant work. I have expert analysis of the code confirming single authorship. I'll ask one more time. Is Dr. Whitmore the sole inventor? Catherine spoke for the first time. I provided the pharmaceutical expertise, the application framework, the industry knowledge, none of which constitutes inventing the algorithm, Rodriguez said. Dr. Whitmore, have you ever written a line of code for this project? No, but have you contributed to the mathematical framework underlying the algorithm? I'm not a mathematician. Have you designed any component of the neural network architecture? That wasn't my role. Then you are not the inventor of this algorithm. You are, at best, a collaborator who provided domain expertise. At worst, you are attempting to fraudulently claim inventorship of work you did not create. Rodriguez turned to Michael. Mr. Torres, I've reviewed your evidence package. It's extraordinarily comprehensive. Dr. Park, You're the expert witness on your own work. But I'd like Dr. Liu to present her analysis. Dr. Liu stood and pulled up a presentation on the hearing room screen. I've conducted a complete analysis of the code base and development history, she began. My findings are unambiguous. Dr. Park is the sole creator of this algorithm. The evidence includes, first, repository history, showing 847 commits over 18 months, all from Dr. Poft. 0 commits from Dr. Whitmore, despite having collaborator access. Second, code style analysis. The 4,200 lines of code show consistent style, consistent naming conventions, consistent architectural patterns, hallmarks of single authorship. Third, progressive complexity. The commit history shows clear evolution from simple prototypes to complex implementations. This is how algorithm development actually works. If multiple people contributed, we'd see different coding styles, different approaches, inconsistent patterns. We see none of that. Fourth, comment analysis. The code contains extensive comments explaining mathematical reasoning. These aren't just documentation, they're pedagogical explanations that demonstrate deep understanding. Only the actual inventor could write these comments. Fifth, Jupyter Notebook analysis. Dr. Park's 94 notebooks document the complete development process, experimental approaches, mathematical derivations, failed attempts, successful breakthroughs. This is primary evidence of invention. Dr. Whitmore has provided 0 comparable documentation. Dr. Liu pulled up a side-by-side comparison on the screen. Finally, and most damaging to Dr. Whitmore's claim, the patent application language is copied directly from Dr. Park's code comments and technical documentation. Here's an example. The screen showed Dr. Park's code comment, dated April 15, 2020. Novel attention mechanism for molecular interaction prediction. Traditional attention in transformers doesn't account for pharmacokinetic properties. This modified attention layer weights molecular features based on their interaction potential, derived from quantum mechanical properties. Patent application language filed January 2021. A novel attention mechanism for molecular interaction prediction wherein traditional attention mechanisms are modified to account for pharmacokinetic properties by weighting molecular features based on interaction potential, derived from quantum mechanical properties. The patent application didn't just describe Dr. Park's work, Dr. Liu said. It copied his descriptions nearly verbatim. Dr. Whitmore couldn't have written these descriptions without access to Dr. Park's documentation, because she didn't invent what's being described. Rodriguez nodded slowly. Dr. Whitmore, did you write the technical sections of your patent application yourself? Catherine hesitated too long. I had assistance from technical consultants. Which consultants? I used Dr. Park's documentation as reference material. You copied his documentation, Rodriguez said flatly. You filed a patent application describing work you didn't do, using descriptions you copied from the actual inventor's technical documentation, claiming sole inventorship. Is that accurate? Silence. Dr. Whitmore, I'm rejecting your patent application. Furthermore, I'm referring this matter to the USPTO's Office of Enrollment and Discipline for investigation of possible fraudulent patent filing. Patent fraud is a federal crime. Catherine went pale. Mr. Torres, your challenge is sustained. Dr. Park, if you wish to file your own patent application with proper sole inventorship, I encourage you to do so. Rodriguez closed her folder. This hearing is concluded. Dr. Whitmore, you should consult with a criminal defense attorney. The USPTO's Office of Enrollment and Discipline took patent fraud seriously. They opened an investigation 2 weeks after the hearing, and their investigator, Thomas Bradley, was thorough. He interviewed me first. Dr. Park, walk me through the collaboration with Dr. Whitmore. When did you first suspect she might try to claim sole authorship? I told him everything from our initial partnership agreement to the moment I discovered her patent filing. I provided access to the complete evidence package. This is one of the clearest fraud cases I've investigated, Bradley said. She filed a patent application claiming sole inventorship, copied your technical descriptions, and negotiated licensing deals worth millions based on fraudulent authorship claims. That's not a mistake or misunderstanding. That's deliberate fraud. He interviewed Catherine next. From what Michael learned through legal channels, the interview did not go well for her. She'd tried to claim the patent filing was a miscommunication with her attorney, that she'd intended to file for joint inventorship, but there was confusion. Bradley pulled her email records. He found drafts of the patent application on her computer, all clearly stating sole inventorship. He found emails to pharmaceutical companies where she explicitly described herself as the creator and the inventor of the algorithm. The investigation took 3 months. In July 2021, the USPTO issued its findings. Dr. Catherine Whitmore engaged in fraudulent patent filing by 1. Claiming sole inventorship of an algorithm she did not create, 2. Copying technical descriptions from the actual inventor's documentation, 3. Using the fraudulent patent application to negotiate licensing deals, 4. Misrepresenting her role to potential licensees. Recommended penalties: 1. Permanent ban from filing patents as a sole inventor. 2. Referral to federal prosecutors for criminal fraud charges. 3. Civil liability for damages to the actual inventor. The federal prosecutor in Boston reviewed the case and decided to pursue criminal charges. Not the outcome I'd sought. Originally, I'd wanted to protect my IP, not destroy Catherine's career, but the evidence was too clear, and patent fraud was too serious. Catherine pleaded guilty to 1 count of patent fraud in October 2021. She received 2 years probation, a $50,000 fine, and permanent prohibition from filing patent applications. The plea deal spared her prison time but destroyed her professional reputation. With Catherine's fraudulent patent invalidated and my own inventorship established, I was free to pursue licensing deals directly. Michael helped me file my own patent application in May 2021 with proper sole inventorship. The application included the complete development history, all my documentation, and expert testimony from Dr. Liu. The patent was granted in record time, 8 months, the USPTO examiner noted. Rarely have I seen such comprehensive documentation of an invention's development. Dr. Park's Jupyter notebooks alone provide complete evidence of inventorship. With the patent secured, I contacted the pharmaceutical companies directly. Pfizer had already expressed interest. Their VP of Research Development, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, had been following the case. We'd been negotiating with Dr. Whitmore for licensing rights at $2.5 million, she told me in our first meeting. After reviewing your documentation, the actual development history, we believe the algorithm is worth considerably more. Your work is exceptional. We negotiated for 6 weeks. Pfizer's final offer, $6.2 million for exclusive licensing rights in North American pharmaceutical markets, plus 3% royalties on any drug developments using the algorithm, plus a consulting contract at $300,000 annually for 3 years. Merck came back with a competing offer, $5.8 million for European markets, plus similar royalty arrangements. Gen Pharm Solutions, the biotech firm, offered $1.5 million for specific applications in rare disease research. I signed all 3 deals, non-exclusive licensing for different markets and applications. Total immediate licensing fees, $13.5 million. Potential royalties, unlimited, depending on drug developments. The algorithm Catherine had tried to steal was worth far more than the $8 million she'd been negotiating. By trying to cut me out and claim sole authorship, she'd destroyed deals worth millions while the actual value of my work became clear. The patent fraud case attracted attention in the AI research community. I hadn't sought publicity, but Michael advised that getting ahead of the story was important. I published a detailed post on my professional blog titled, "How Version Control Saved My Research, a Case Study in IP Protection for Researchers." The post went viral in academic circles. I didn't name Catherine explicitly, but I described the situation clearly. Asterisk research partnership with unequal technical contributions. Asterisk fraudulent patent filing by non-technical partner. Asterisk how comprehensive documentation proved authorship. Asterisk the importance of version control, time-stamped notebooks, and written communication. The response was overwhelming. Hundreds of researchers contacted me with similar stories, partners or advisors who'd tried to claim their work, employers who'd stolen their innovations, collaborators who'd erased their contributions. "Your stories saved my career," one postdoc wrote. "I was in the same situation. My advisor was trying to patent my algorithm as his own invention. I started documenting everything after reading your post. 6 months later, he tried exactly what your partner tried. My documentation proved he contributed nothing. Thank you." MIT invited me to give a talk to their graduate students on protecting intellectual property. I emphasized the basics. Asterisk use version control for everything. Asterisk Keep detailed Jupyter notebooks with times. Asterisk document all meetings and conversations. Asterisk save all emails. Asterisk be explicit about contributions in writing. Asterisk don't assume partnerships will remain fair when money appears. The talk was recorded and posted on YouTube. It has 340,000 views as of this writing. Nature published an article about the case titled Research Partnerships and IP Theft, What the Whitmore Park Case Teaches Us. The article praised my documentation practices as a model for collaborative research. Catherine, meanwhile, disappeared from the AI research community. Her LinkedIn profile went dormant. Her research lab position ended quietly. Last I heard, she'd left the tech industry entirely. 1. Invested most of the licensing fees, paid off my student loans, bought a house in Cambridge, and donated $1 million to MIT's Graduate Student Research Fund. The consulting contracts with pharmaceutical companies turned into ongoing work. I've helped develop 3 drugs using my algorithm. 2 are in phase 3 clinical trials. If they reach market, my royalty payments could exceed $50 million. More importantly, the algorithm is doing what I designed it to do, predicting drug interactions accurately, helping pharmaceutical researchers avoid dangerous combinations, accelerating drug development. That was always the goal, not the money, but the impact. I occasionally get questions about Catherine, about whether I feel guilty for ruining her career. I don't. She didn't make a mistake. She didn't misunderstand our partnership. She deliberately filed a fraudulent patent, copied my technical descriptions, negotiated licensing deals based on lies, and tried to erase me from work I'd spent 18 months creating. She committed fraud. She faced consequences. My documentation didn't ruin her career, it protected mine. Her own actions ruined her career. The 847 commits, the 4,200 lines of commented code, the 94 Jupyter notebooks, those didn't lie. They told the truth when she tried to steal it. I learned important lessons from this experience, lessons I share with every young researcher who contacts me. First, document everything, every commit, every notebook, every email, every meeting, not because you're paranoid, but because comprehensive documentation is good research practice and it protects you when partnerships go wrong. Second, be explicit about contributions in writing. Don't let vague language obscure who did what. We developed is meaningless. I wrote the code while my partner handled business development is clear. Third, use version control religiously. GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, doesn't matter which one, just use one. Timestamps don't lie. Commit history doesn't lie. Fourth, trust but verify. Partnership agreements are meaningless if one party decides to ignore them. Have documentation that proves your contributions independent of what any contract says. Fifth, act quickly when betrayal happens. I discovered Catherine's patent filing and called an attorney within 48 hours. Speed matters. Every day you wait is another day the fraudulent claim gains credibility. I still do research. I still collaborate with other scientists. I still believe in the power of partnership and shared work. But I document everything. My 847 GitHub commits told the truth when Catherine tried to steal my algorithm. My 4,200 lines of commented code proved authorship when she claimed she invented it. My 94 Jupyter notebooks documented 18 months of work she tried to erase. Code doesn't lie. Math doesn't lie. Timestamps don't lie. Catherine learned that the hard way. I learned it too, but I learned it in time, before she could patent my life's work under her name and license it for millions while erasing my existence. The algorithm is mine. The patent is mine. The licensing deals are mine. The recognition is mine, because I could prove it. Every commit, every line of code, every timestamped notebook, every documented meeting. The truth was in the repository all along. I just had to show it to people who understood what version control actually proves. In the end, Catherine's attempt to steal my algorithm taught the research community an important lesson. In the age of version control and digital documentation, IP theft is harder than ever to get away with, and that's a good thing.